Yo, what up, everybody? The show's here. Chris and Jason on the mic. Yeah, we got the city's ear. Talking Phillies baseball. It's the only thing to do. Welcome to the Ring the Bell Phillies show for me and you. Ring the bell. It's a Philly thing. You know we ring the bell. Go Phils. Ring the bell.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Ring the Bell, your Philly show. And I just wish y'all could see what I see when the song hits and Jason has just leaned all the way back and he's just pumping it up. And I'm just like, my man.
It's a heater, yo. What can I say? It's a heater. It gets you going.
It really is. What's even going to get you going even more is if any of y'all who are watching or listening to this who are going to the game on Thursday, congratulations on getting a 75-degree day. Because, you know, I'm willing to place a couple pennies on the idea that maybe 7 of the last 10 years, you know, these opening day games, I mean, Jason goes to all of them. Would you say maybe 70 or 80% of the last decade, you're looking at 50 and cloudy?
Yeah, usually I think last year was pretty nice, so I'm not mistaken too, but typically it's not this weather. I think the best one we had was the COVID year where they started in July, you know, opening day in July.
Yeah,
that was a good one. Outside of that, yeah, it's rough to get to because you know, and you know how we do. We're up there tailgating early, so we're up there in sweatpants and sweatshirts. You know, sometimes there's been times where you had to switch to like shorts. I think I might be bringing shorts for Thursday just for the tailgate if it's hitting 72.
Yeah.
That's hot,
for sure.
I'm ready.
Hey, maybe it's a good omen. Like that one day this entire week, it's going to be really nice is opening day on Thursday. So who knows? But hey, look, y'all, we are here. We are finally at the point where if anybody that listens or watches Phillies content, today is the day that you'll see all over the place. This is the preview and prediction day. And because baseball technically starts tomorrow. So I'm super excited to watch all the baseball tomorrow to get me ready for
I know
Thursday.
It's a Philly show, but can I say it can't be to me just a worse opening. Like, why are we doing? I get it's the Yankees, but why are we doing San Fran? Like,
yeah, I don't get it.
Give me something better. Give me Toronto. Give me Boston. Give me something, but don't give me Yankees San Fran. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
right. I just
the NFL does it right when the first couple games of the year they usually stack that roster a little bit. And I agree with you totally.
I know on Netflix they're going Netflix. They're doing it big for opening day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Excited to watch real baseball tomorrow. I mean, the World Baseball Classic was amazing, but I mean, Major League Baseball starting tomorrow. So we are here to preview the Philadelphia Phillies. I think this is our fourth one that we're doing here, which is, I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's our fourth one. So yeah, we are going to basically preview.
It is.
It is. Wow, our fourth one. Can we just get one World Series and then we can just never speak of this again? Like, if they win a World Series, you'll never have to hear from me again. I'll be so happy. So yeah, we're going to talk about. We're going to give you basically break down the lineups. We're going to go down each guy in the lineup. Basically, give what his batting average, home runs, RBIs are going to be. We're going to do the same thing with the pitching staff in terms of ERA. Strikeouts, stuff like that. We're not going to dive into the bullpen because that would take hours. So we're really just going to do the starting staff. And then at the end of the show, the most important thing, we're going to do the schedule, bold predictions, and where we see the record, not the schedule. We're going to go down, do the record.
Damn, I was hoping for that game by game, bro. Like that.
No, that would be
all 162. All 162.
Knowing me, because of how I've always done like Eagle schedules, I'll get the game 150, and the Phillies have already won 127 games. It's ridiculous. And then at the end, we'll give our final prediction how we think the Phillies season will end. I have been just racking my brain with this for about 4 days now. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. But before we get started, Jay, I did a show a couple days ago basically piggybacking off of your Luzardo show, doing Christopher Sanchez signing. We found out today that the Phillies, oh my God, is there another team in baseball that defers money? And then the Phillies are finally getting into that boat. They're deferring. It's only $20 million, but still, they're still deferring money. Christopher Sanchez had $20 million deferred that will pay him through 2044. But that notwithstanding, Jay, since you weren't able to do the show, what are your thoughts on Sanchez's contract?
Listen, I'm okay with it. This is a guy, I'm always his numbers guy. I need to see it consistently. I don't want to see, 1 year and pay a guy. Sanchez is a dude, really, he's still only 28. Since 23, when he really made his 18 starts, he's gotten better each year. So this is a guy that I think, if I'm not mistaken, would have been free agent after next year. He's not there, but he's still a guy that they locked up. And the money he's getting, once he actually gets those escalators and hits the money, which I think it's like around 30 million down the road. Today, that's good pitcher money. So you don't know what that's going to be. 30 million, unless there's a salary cap, that number is going to look great by the time he actually gets it. So I think it was a great signing. I think this is another one of those reasons we did discuss. We talked about, going after Bichette, maybe not dealing a little bit of extra money. And I do think, they probably knew they needed something down the road. Wheeler being hurt, Noel, you still don't know what you're going to get. They let Ranger go. So they had to lock up two young potential stars at the time, that guys that they project out to be top of the rotation guys. So I like the move. I think it's a very good move.
And I'm totally with you, obviously. So if anybody wants to go check out my instant reaction, again, it's in the archives in the show. Just go. It's the most recent show that we did. Check it out. Let us know what you think about the deal. But so let's just kind of get into this, because this sometimes can take a little while, but it's all good. All right. So let's start with the offense, and let's go down the batting order and give our predictions on what this offense is going to look like. And look, we talked about this before. 95% of this offense is coming back. It's running it back, and I at first, Jay and I, the few times that we spoke during the offseason, we weren't necessarily too thrilled with the idea of running it back, but we also knew with how many people on this roster are locked up in money, it's really hard to just blow it up and start anew. And then I listened to Jason Stark, who I respect more than anybody in baseball. When Jason Stark tells me, hey guys, this is a team that everyone's worried about running it back. This is a team that if the Dodgers weren't playing baseball, the Phillies had the best record in the world. So this is still a roster that won 95 games last year.
Second best team in baseball at the end of the season. Outside the playoffs, I know we lost the playoffs. We had the second best record. So
and it's not like this is a bad team. So and honestly, what we saw in the offseason, during spring training, Adolis Garcia looked really good. Bryson Stott looked fantastic. Alec Bohm looked phenomenal. So let's Justin Crawford looked really good too in moments. So let's kind of go down the order, and we're going to basically let you guys know what we think is going to happen with this team offensively. Jay, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to start with the projected leadoff hitter for the whole season, and that's Trey Turner.
Listen, I expect him. I don't know if he's going to hit 304 again, but I do expect probably anywhere between 285, 295 average. Mm-hmm. Definitely has the potential to do 304. I'd like to see a little bit more pop out of that bat.
Yeah.
I'd like them to see him get closer to that 20 home run mark, but last year he was back up there, 36 steals. So if we can get him on, if he's batting 305, getting you almost 40 steals, hitting 15 home runs from the top of that lineup, I'm pretty happy. I'd like to see, we'll talk about it later. I'd like him to move down one, but notwithstanding that, he's a great leadoff hitter. He's a guy that sets the tone, and that's where, I've noted in the last few playoffs when he does struggle at the top of that lineup that, I feel like they feed off of him a lot. When he's hitting well, the rest of the team, feeds off that. So we really need a big season out of him, and more than just the regular season, we need to see him really start producing heavy deep into the playoffs.
I agree. And when I look at Trey Turner this year, I have him I actually have more pop in his bat this year. I have him hitting 21 home runs, 76 RBIs. I have him stealing another 30 plus bags. I have him hitting right around 300. I put between 300, 302.
Okay.
And if I can get that out of him, like you said, I mean, that's tremendous. You're almost
304 leads the league in batting average nowadays. So like you can't be
yeah.
mad at that.
No, you just can't. So that's why I do think we're going to see a little bit more pop. I do want to predict that I think he homers Thursday. I think he gets a home run in opening day. I'm not going to say a leadoff home run, but just still gets a dinger and to get things started. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I think Trey. I think he wants to build off of a 304. I think he was disappointed with 304. To me, if you have a Trey Turner who's very highly motivated to do even better than last year because of how important he is, yeah, I would love to be in that 300 range again. But like you, I would like to see a little bit more pop because he has it. He has that pop. So looking forward to seeing Mr. Trey Turner this year. All right. The big one, the guy who was the runner-up for the MVP in the National League last year, Kyle Schwarber. Jay, what are you expecting?
I think there's going to be a little bit of drop in power. 56 home runs is tough to do. I think he comes back down to earth. And probably settles around 45, 46 home runs this year.
Okay.
I think he still hits. He can get. I'd like to move him back, but I still think he's going to get over 100 RBIs, still probably about 120 RBIs. And I think he's really come somewhere with that average. The last 2 years, it's been over, 240 plus. I know 2 years ago, I said he was going to be 250. So I think he probably sits around that 242, 245 mark. And he does what he does in his walk. So he's still going to get, over 350 OBP, even with that 240 average. I do think the power drops a little bit though, but listen, if he has a couple big months, I think even if they move him back, he might keep more power in front because he does have Harper behind him. So moving him to the 4-hole, I know we talk about it a lot, but I do think, thinking out loud right now, not having Harper behind him, he probably does see some of those better pitches and get some, those home runs with Harper behind him. So it's, now that I'm thinking about it, it might be smart to keep him at 2. But I do think the power drops. But I listen, he's always to me, for the last couple of years, he's been the best, the most important piece on this team, with that power and the RBIs, and just the leadership he brings.
I totally agree with you. I think his power drops, but not significantly. So I have Kyle Schwarber this year hitting right around 255.
Okay.
So I have him at 255, 52 home runs, 135 RBIs, over 100 walks again. So I still think you are getting another monster season out of Kyle Schwarber. There's nothing suggesting otherwise that he can't at least be at 50 and 120, 25, right? So that's where I am.
He's only hit 50 once here and once in his career. So like, I get it, but like I know his first 2 years was 46, 40. That's why I think last year was more the anomaly. I think he's probably about, that's just my opinion, but I would listen, if he can hit 52, shit, I'll take it,
Yeah, for sure. And we'll probably see him in the home run derby too, which is pretty cool. Yeah. All right. Let's get into this one. This actually will play into one of my bold predictions. So I'll talk about it when I predict it, but Bryce Harper, man, I mean, look, we're going to see probably the most motivated Bryce that we've seen since signing the contract. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, that home run in the WBC final may have really sparked him going into this regular season. This whole not elite stuff is going to be throughout the entire season. You're going to hear opposing fans probably saying it. Washington, teams like that are going to, yell it out loud to the guy. This is a massive, massive year for Bryce. I think he knows it. I think obviously that the franchise knows it. If he stays healthy, Jay, what do you have for Bryce?
This is the one I was kind of going back and forth on. And listen, I I do think if a healthy Bryce Harper, he is a motivated Bryce Harper. I still think for as much as I know he's got an MVP here, but I still think he's underperformed some.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my opinion, I think you're right. I think the comments motivated him. He's struggled with injuries recently. Hopefully he's had a full off season. He's not coming in with really any dings or nicks. He's been able to hit. I do see Bryce hitting around I'm going to say 285 to 295. I think he's going to have one of those OBPs of over 400 this year. I think he breaks I think he gets 100 RBIs, and I do think I'm going to go 40. I think he hits 40 plus. I do think the power is going. If he stays healthy, I think he's ready. That bat, I know he said he wants to be more selective with that first pitch. But I also do think Topper has said that he's willing to look at the lineup. So if what happens, what everybody wants to happen happens, and Schwarber goes behind him, he's a dangerous mofo. And I do think I think it helps him. I know he'll be walked a little bit more, but I do think he's going to be able to be more selective and take his shots. But so I see a big season for Bryce.
Yeah. So you kind of stole my thunder a little bit on my bold prediction. I have him hitting 292. I have him hitting 40 home runs for the second time. For the second time of his career, I have it right here. 40. That was
not discussed, people. Just so you know, that was not discussed at all.
Never. I also have him having 125 RBIs, which would be a career high. He had 114 his first year with the Phillies. He hit 42. He hit 40. The last time he hit 40 home runs was his first MVP season back in 2015. And I'm kind of looking at like some trends a little bit. He hit 35 home runs in 2021, his other MVP season, and he still missed 20 games, which he probably in 20 games could have hit 40. Last season, he missed 30 games and hit 27, which means he could have been right up there at 35 again. So here's what I am assuming. If he becomes more selective, which he promises he's going to be, if he becomes more selective, Jay, he's going to eventually have to get pitched to.
Yeah.
So to me, that's when you get dangerous Bryce, because if you throw him a strike, he's going to do a lot of damage to it. He's either going to hit a double, he's going to hit it out of the park.
Yeah. And so he's got the power. He's got a beautiful swing, man. I do think, and listen, I get he's got an MVP here, but he still we haven't seen that season that I think all of us kind of expected and kind of you saw as an opponent when he did come here. I don't think he's put that fully together yet. And I know he's had an MVP, so I can't really knock on the guy. And I really appreciate what he's done, but I do think he's got some left in the tank. He's older. He's more mature. He wants to prove he's still one of the best players in the game.
Oh, no doubt. And I completely agree with you. And I think that's where we're going to be with him this year. I think we're going to see some MVP votes. I'm not going to go in anymore and saying I think we're going to see an MVP. I've already done that now. It only worked one time. So I'm not, maybe if I don't do it this year, then it'll be good things. But I will say, my other bold prediction is for Bryce, maybe it's not a bold one, but I do think he finally wins a Gold Glove at first base this year. He's been a finalist. He's been a finalist every year and a runner-up, I think, the last 2 years. I think he's just gonna get over the hump this time and finally get it.
Especially if he can play a full season. I think all of that is very attainable for him.
For sure.
If he stays healthy for the whole season.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the guy that Jay has been saying for the last 3 or 4 years is honestly the most important piece of the Phillies lineup, and that's your cleanup hitter, which is always weird to say, Alec Bohm. Jay, what are your expectations? Because when you get to me, you're going to be shocked because I have massive expectations for this guy on contract year.
I think some of it can depend on how Garcia plays, but listen, it is a contract year. We said it all the time. Nola pitched well his contract season. Usually a lot of times in baseball, that's when guys have their best stuff. I'd love to see him. I think he does have 300 potential still. I would love to see I think last year he had how at 11 no, he didn't have 11 home runs. I'd like to see him get to around that 20 home run mark. And if they bat him clean up all year and he can bat, listen, if he's not, I get he's never going to be a 30, 40 home run guy, but if he can get you 20 home runs and bat 300 to 310, which he definitely has the potential to do, I think he's definitely, going to get over 100 RBIs. He's a guy that when they brought him up, I've said this every year. Like you said, to me, he's always one of the most important people because once he starts hitting his potential, it gives them room to do a lot of other things. And it gives them that fourth guy that can really knock in some runs, guy that's going to bat 300, a guy that, could be that 3-hole hitter if need be to get one of the power guys in the 4-hole, even a 2-hole hitter if he's getting on base and really hitting. So he's a guy that is super key important. And I do think he has a big year. He's got to see, everybody's talking up Miller. There was trade talk during the season that they wanted to get rid of him. Everybody expects Miller to be up at some point. So he's really, I think, got a fire lit under his butt. And, there was points last year where he was knocking the cover off the ball, just, batting 330 over stretches. So I don't think it's super unrealistic for him to jump up, 15 points and get you 300 and get you about 105 RBIs if he stays clean up all season.
Well, now I'm pissed because it's like you're looking at my notes. I don't here I am thinking I'm going to come in here and I'm going to shock him. And it's like unbelievable. Whatever. I guess not. I have Alec Boehm hitting 310 this year. I have him hitting 22 home runs at 103 RBIs, lending him a mega contract in the offseason with somebody that's not the Phillies. Because, I've said this before and I know I can sound like a broken record. And the Phillies do not operate like the LA Dodgers. So you can't pay everybody. You just re-upped Schwarber. You just paid Luzardo and Sanchez. So most likely after this season, unless Alec Boehm wants to stay in Philly and have a big hometown discount, which does not happen, this is probably it for Boehm in Philadelphia. So I expect him to have a huge season because if he doesn't, Jay, then the logistics of him coming back might actually be a little better for the Phillies because we're now in a point we have no idea what's going on with Aiden Miller and the future of Aiden Miller.
And you're back at that age.
Yeah. That's rough. I mean, it took a few years for Rollins back to start bothering him, and then it was just progressively downhill. But this kid's getting it now, and I'm not a big fan of that. I feel bad for him. But again, the Phillies have to monitor this because they have a third baseman who's a consistent 285 hitter every year, has played really good third base the last 2 years. What do you do? I mean, they're going to have to cross that bridge when they get to it. But it's going to be a massive season for Alec Boehm. I mean, the biggest of his career, no doubt. All right, next guy is basically, I guess you could say their biggest offseason acquisition, Adolis Garcia. What are you looking at Adolis this year?
Not good. Wow. I don't like it at all. Listen, This is a guy, just over the last 2 seasons, the dude's batted like 225 over the last 2 seasons. He's got an on-base percentage of 278, okay? Alec Boehm batted 285 last year. Trey Turner batted 304, okay? This is a dude, I get he hits home runs, but he's all, everybody looks at him as this big dude. He's averaged 22 home runs over the last 2 seasons. Yes, the 2023 season that everybody wants to bring up and talk about, he hit 39 and had 107 RBIs, batted 245 and 328 on base percentage. That was 3 years ago. The guy, and that's more of, the anomaly when you look at the last few seasons. Now, maybe he needs something different. I just don't think it's a great signing. I think the potential's there. I think, where the upgrade is in the actual outfield for us because he's a solid defender. So it does help replace Casty. But I just don't see him. I still think he's going to be, 24 to 25 home runs, probably has around 70 to 80 RBIs, but I still have him about 225 and striking out a lot, not getting a lot of walks. And to me, You can't have that kind of average if you're not hitting 57 home runs like Schwarber does. I don't like the signing at all, honestly. I would have rather kept Casty.
Whoa. I don't. Wow. So you're at the point where you don't like that guy that much. You would have accepted Casty back?
I would have been okay because you're eating the contract anyway. I think Casty had a bad year. When you look at, he's not as great as we thought he'd be, but I still think he was very solid. I just don't think. I think Adolis Garcia. When you listen to the radio, everybody talking him up. I don't see it. I get the potential and the look is there. He looks great. He's jacked. Got a cannon. Okay. Also, so I do. It helps defensively, but the bat I don't think is going to play much here.
Yeah, he strikes out a ton, and he doesn't walk. So he is basically almost a clone of Casty in terms of he's just going up there and swinging the bat. So I have Adolis Garcia this year hitting like right around 235. So I was pretty close to you, right around 235. I do have him hitting 28 home runs. I think he hit 25 2 years ago in Texas. I do think he can add a couple more playing in Philadelphia and the East Coast. So I do have him right around 28 home runs. And I do have right around like the 80 RBI mark, which he's hit almost every single year of his career except last year. He's had a couple years of over 100 RBIs. So like you said, the potential is there. If he can get hot, he gets hot. But the problem is, again, a very, very high strikeout rate and a very low walk rate, which means it's going to be very frustrating at times watching him because he's going to have opportunities to come up clutch where he's going to be put in that lineup. And it could be very frustrating for a while. All right. I mean, I can even see a point in the season, Jay, where Otto Kemp is in right field and Marsh is everyday left field, and Adolis is not playing. I mean, it's a 1-year deal worth $10 million.
If Otto looks good, he's had, he's showed some pop in the spring training so far. So, if he plays well, I think, that he looked well last year. He may not be an everyday guy, but, it may be somebody it might be a situation where you're going to throw him or Marsh just the hot bat at that point. And because I think all of them are okay, defensively in the corners, they're not a liability. So I think you're going to see more of a hot bat once that kind of stuff happens.
I agree with you totally. All right, so let's get to the next guy here. Why is this not popping up? Well, as it's loading here, JT Realmuto, Jay. Again, another guy who we weren't sure. I mean, there was a point where I thought it was a no-brainer he was going to be back for a couple years. I mean, it went pretty far into the offseason, and just about a month and a half or so ago, JT gets the new extension. It gets the new contract. He's back with the Phillies for a couple more years. Obviously, I think with the way this lineup is going to be constructed, there's not going to be as much pressure because I doubt he's going to be batting in the 5-hole.
No.
So he's not going to have all this unnecessary pressure on his shoulders other than hopefully batting in the lower end of the lineup and catching 125, 130 games again. He's still a freak athlete. He doesn't really get hurt that much. He actually, I think, had an okay spring training. I don't think he was horrible at all. A lot of the games I watched, he was swinging the bat well. Where are you on JT this season?
I think he's going to be about what he's been the past few years offensively. And I'm okay with that because, I think moving him down, I heard he could be potentially 8, potentially 7, maybe 6, you never know. But I think he's not going to have the pressure, but I don't really care for the bat. He's a great situational hitter. He's been around the game long enough. He knows how to play it. So I'm not really worried about the bat. We really have him here for the defense. He really knows how to catch this staff. So I'm okay with, if he gets you 10 to 12 home runs, potentially 15, I think he's probably around the 50, 52, like kind of was last year. I think he's probably going to be up to about 265 this year. I do think the average bumps up a little bit. But I just think what he brings most to this table is really just the help to that pitching staff, especially to the 2 new guys that just signed. He's going to help control them. So I think that's where he's most vital, is behind that plate. And I think he'll have a better defensive season this year than he had last year.
So I wholeheartedly agree. I actually have JT hitting right around 262, 15 home runs and 60 RBIs.
Okay.
I'm just letting everybody know, other than like the top 1 or 2 catchers in baseball, that's a really good season for a major league catcher.
Yeah.
Especially if, like Jay said, if they are going to actually put him where he belongs in the lineup, which is between 7 and 7, 8, 9. Obviously there might be games where he's hitting like 6 or so, but anything above 6, you're doing your team a disservice putting him anywhere above the 6 hole. All right, let's get to another just enigma on this team, and that is Bryson Stott. Jay, I have a couple actually bold predictions for this guy this year. He looked absolutely spectacular in spring training. He apparently worked tirelessly since last August on his stance, on his approach to the plate. What are your expectations for Bryson Stott in 2026?
He's another guy I think I'm going to go against the trend on. I know he's had a great spring training, but I just listen. If he's an everyday player, he's going to be a Gold Glove contender at second base. He's a guy that can definitely win a Gold Glove, but he truly struggles with the bat. I don't see him jumping up that much. I know a couple years ago, even last year, I think you were high on him. Mm-hmm. He's a dude I know, in 23, he had that 280 average, but he just doesn't hit lefties. And until he can prove he can hit lefties, I don't like it. I don't like the platoon. I get it's today's baseball, but it's tough when you can't hit one side of the plate. I think the average will be inflated some if with the way they're talking. Topper's saying he's going to play Sosa a good amount against lefties. So the average to me is going to be fluff if he's not really playing against lefties. So I think if he's an everyday guy, he's probably about a 255, 260 hitter. And I think, he could steal bags. So he's definitely a dude. If he can get on base, you get him down the bottom of the lineup, you get more speed. I think throughout the lineup, he's probably going to steal 25 to 30 bags. But I see about last year. It's probably about 255, 260. We're on a 320 OBP. Listen, he's a guy I know they wanted the top of the lineup early on. I just don't see it. I haven't seen it. Like, to me, I've never really been a stock guy.
Mm-hmm. So I have him hitting 287 this year.
Damn.
13 home runs, 60 RBIs. My bold prediction is that he makes an all-star team, and he's a finalist for a Gold Glove at second base.
That's not a bold prediction.
Well, I mean, he hasn't been a finalist yet, which is weird.
Yeah, he was.
When?
The year Turang won.
Oh, you're right. Okay, you're right.
Top 3. It was like 2 or 3 years. I think 2 years ago it was.
All right. Well, then I'll make another bold prediction. I'll transfer that. I think he finishes top 7 for the batting title.
Whew, that's a bold prediction because I don't see that. I know you've been high on him and his average, and I know you've talked about it. Since the last few years, you think he's going to break out of it. It's just tough for me. I just don't see it. Like, when you look at splits, his career, I just don't get. And that's the enigma. He can't get better if he's not seeing it. But you also can't always put him out there again because he is such a liability. But to me, if you got a guy like Odalis Garcia who's batting 220 regardless, let's let Bryson Stott get some GD at bats. Okay,
I agree. That's a great point. That's just it's the best point that you could possibly make. But I am. This is the last time I'm going to be high on Stott, and I'm only high on him right now is because of the reports of how hard the dude's been working, and then he comes out and has a masterful spring, which we all know doesn't mean shit in the long run unless it starts on Thursday. But this is it. I think Stott has it in him, but I think Jay, I think you're right. He's going to be limited because Rob Thompson is a creature of habit. He does not change or alter anything. He sticks with the same thing. He's a plain oatmeal kind of guy every single day of his life. He is, as much as I don't agree with some things that one of our past co-hosts said. I mean, the dude, when he speaks, it's just pathological lying every time he talks. But I wonder if there's a point of the year where Stott just stays in the lineup. At some point, I think like we said, if he's hitting, he's not going to come out of the lineup. If he can get some really good at bats against lefties and gain that trust, then he's going to be back being your everyday second baseman. And Edmundo Sosa is going to be what he should be, which is a utility guy, a bench player. And again, I've been reading all day yesterday and today, like, Sosa deserves so much more starts. I just want everybody to continuously realize every time Edmundo Sosa gets more than 5, 6, 7 days in a row to start, you see some really bad numbers from Edmundo Sosa. He is incredible in the spot that he's in. And I really wanted to keep it that way. If Edmundo Sosa is your starter in any spot, something catastrophic happened. All right, so here's a tough one to really call because there's no sample size. But Justin Crawford, I am insanely excited for this kid. I wanted him up here last year. It didn't happen. But he's here now. It's his job to lose. There's nobody that he's battling for this job. So when it comes to Justin Crawford, I'm right around that 280 batting average in that 9 hole. I think 7 home runs, 40 RBIs. But most importantly, I think he gets over 30 stolen bases in that 9 hole.
I dig it. I can dig that. I have a bold prediction to make. This is we're talking about bold predictions.
I know.
Listen, I think before midseason, I think he bats leadoff, and I think bold prediction.
Wow.
He will be he'll lead the National League in steals. I think if the dude, listen, even having him bat 280, I'm moving him up because you got that kind of speed on the base. I think it's tough to ignore. Now can he hit? I think realistically, if that would be my dream scenario, I think that's really it. I think if he sits around 260, I don't think it's a terrible move. You got to let the kid play every day, though. This can't be a situation where they do move him down. But I see the potential. You got that left-handed bat. We all know slap hitters. If he can just find a couple holes here and there, he's going to force the defense to play with that kind of speed. Fastest player in the minors last year. I think if he gets hot, starts the season early, you just talked about it. We've said it every year. Topper's not big on change, but he has mentioned he's, looking at the stall this year. He's mentioned, he's not opposed to changes this year. So in my perfect scenario, I think the bold prediction, that's to me, I think that's as bold as you get. Topper changing our lineup around and moving this kid to lead off. Cause I think he could do special things from there. He's one of those dudes that's going to get you 50, 60, 70 stolen bases. He bats leadoff.
So, but let me just play devil's advocate a little bit in the mindset of how good it is to have him hit 9th. Don't you kind of want him to be that guy who can hit and get on base and turn the lineup over and have those legs on base for the big guns?
So if that projection happens, you move Stott to 9.
Okay.
You get the speed up there. Like to me, I get it. It's great, but you need a guy. Someone's got to start taking over at some point for Turner at leadoff. I just think it needs to happen. I get he's still batting well, but if you get a 22-year-old, this kid could be Jimmy Rollins level. He's not going to have the power that Rollins had. He definitely could have more speed than Rollins had. He could be that level leadoff guy. Listen, his dad, we all saw what his dad did. He's got, I think his godfather's Tim Raines. I thought I heard, or he's learning from these are guys that he's learning from. So he's learning from professional baseball players.
Yeah, man.
So I do think he's a kid. He's been around in the ballpark his whole life. I think he's a kid. He's batted over 300 pretty much throughout his minor league career. I don't see that as rookie year. But high end, if this kid could get close to 300, I think you bat him leadoff and you let him run. You let him, because that's the type of spark you need. We've seen it too much in the last few years in the postseason. The top of this lineup gets, can't hit, can't do anything. This is the type of dude at the top of the lineup that can throw you down a bunt, that can slap hit to the shortstop and beat it out. Okay. That's the type of kid, the type of speed this guy has. So I
Yep.
think, and that could be the energy, just the boost this team needs to get to that next step, in my opinion.
I agree with you. And if he, look, I would love for him to bat leadoff. Then you push Turner to 2, Harper to 3, Schwarber 4.
So
And
in that scenario,
all is
I
right
moved
with the
Harper
world.
to 2, Turner to
wow.
3, Schwarber at 4.
Well, I'll never argue Harper at 2. I've been begging for this shit for 7 years. All right, man, that's good stuff. I have a bold prediction for Justin Crawford. I'm just gonna say this now because it kind of aligns with the other rookie in Andrew Painter. I think by the end of the season, the Phillies will have 2 top 5 Rookie of the Year candidates in the National League.
Mine, with adding with Crawford, I do think he wins Rookie of the Year.
Oh, you are a Crawford guy.
I want to
love
see
hear
it.
this.
I haven't, we haven't seen. I don't think you've had this type of energy come up in a long. I
No.
know we're all excited for Bohm, but I think this kid's is something.
This is more.
He's special. And listen, we haven't had a true center fielder really
since Shane Victorino.
So it's been a long time, and that's something this team really needs. Somebody that just can come in there and just roam. And that if this kid can provide that, I think it helps. It solves a lot of your needs. He's it sucks that, but I think keeping him in the 9 hole for the whole year and letting him grow, if he does have those faults, let him, don't do anything with him. Don't send him down. Don't bench him. Give him that opportunity to grow and let him break out of it.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. I should have left you without a dope beat to step to. Rest in peace, Aaliyah. Nobody listening who knows who Aaliyah is. So, all right, last one for the offense, because he's going to start a lot of games. Brandon Marsh. This dude is he is to me the prototype of every single day you have no idea what you're getting out of a baseball player. And Brandon Marsh is that dude. But I'm projecting a 277 batting average, 14 home runs, 50 RBIs. I think he has a real solid season for the Phillies. He's not in center field anymore. He plays really good. He's a really good corner outfielder, though. I think metrics-wise, he's actually one of the best corner outfielders in baseball defensively. So I'm excited for that aspect. He's going to be where he belongs. Jay, where are you on Brandon Marsh?
I do think he's probably going to be, again, around 270, 280. 10 to 12 home runs, 30, 40 RBIs. I think he can be a dude. He's not going to see lefty pitching as well. I think, they said Otto's going to be in there. Marsh is, he's going to be out there most days. They feel like he's going to get a lot of games played, but the innings and at bats may be a little less. But I do think he's solid. He has shown over he had the misstep the year before, kind of his real low average. But I do think his numbers are going to get inflated some because I think he's going to see more right-handed pitching, which, he can really hit well. He does okay against it. So I do think, and like you said, he's a great, much better left fielder than he ever was center fielder. So it's, again, you have a couple of these guys on all of everybody's lineups. They have a couple of these dudes that are just, they're going to show up, they're going to play. Would we like a guy that can go out there every day? 100%, but Marsh can get hot, can do some things. So he's a bottom lineup guy, so it's not bad. And, he plays good. You need good defense. So if you have Adolis Garcia, Crawford is what they think, and now you have Marsh out there, I think it's a very solid, one of the best outfields we've had probably since we've had, Pat Worth and Vic.
All right, so let's now go into the starting rotation. Jay, what are you looking at, man? Because we're looking at a rotation now that's going to have, based on all reports, their ace is going to be back mid-April. So less than a month from now, coming off a, life-threatening blood clot surgery, Zach Wheeler will be back. And he's apparently looking, in mid-season normal Zach Wheeler form right now. So let's just include that Zach Wheeler is going to be with this rotation for the majority of the season, which looks to be the case.
Okay.
So we have a rotation of Wheeler, Sanchez, Luzardo, what am I missing? Nola, of course I miss Nola,
Yeah.
and Andrew Painter. As a whole, man, where are you looking at these guys going down the list?
So thinking about it now, just kind of breaking it down, I do think they have potential top 3 to be the best 3 of any team. Luzardo, I don't expect him to be the guy he was the first 12 starts. I don't expect him to be the guy he was those middle 11 starts. I think he is probably closer to that back end start guy, who brought it back down, who had about a 3-3. If he can be around a 3-3, 3-2 guy, I don't know if Sanchez is a 2-5 guy all the time, but if he can still stay, around 2-9, 3-1, I think Wheeler's going to do what Wheeler does. He's definitely, if he can get you 25 starts, I'm excited about this. If I would like Luzardo to really be that ranger around 320. And I think it helps too now because you do have your top 3 guys that can give you, I know Wheeler won't this season, but can all probably go about 200 innings. So I think, and even Nola. So you have 4 dudes that, when healthy, can give you 200 innings apiece. So it'll help not tax that bullpen. I'm excited. I don't think it's going to be the best rotation in baseball. I think they got really lucky next year, but I do think they're a top 3 rotation. Given if Wheeler comes back fully healthy and they do what they're supposed to do, I do think it's a top 3 rotation in baseball.
I totally agree. I look at what's amazing to me is this is a rotation right now where their top 3 starters, Jay, could realistically have all 3 of them have under 3 ERAs. I mean, if Luzardo is pitching the way he did for the majority of the season, dude, your top 3 starters are under a 3. 2 of them could be under a 2.5, being Wheeler and Sanchez. That's insanity to me. I think only the Dodgers could probably post something like that realistically with, Ohtani, Yamamoto, Blake Snell can get into to that level. Dude, like it's just nasty how this rotation is set up. And plus you really don't even know what you're going to get out of Andrew Painter. What I really hope to kind of focus on Painter here a little bit, because I know a lot of people have just been following this kid for about 4 years straight now, wondering when this was going to happen. It's finally here. It was, he and Justin Crawford were like the duh moment. Of course, they're going to make the team, but now it's a matter of what are we going to get out of them? Here's what I really hope that the Phillies do with Andrew Painter. If he struggles, which he's going to, I assume. He's not Paul Skeens. He's not going to come into this league, I assume, and set the world on fire. But if he does, then, I mean, this team is
best rotation in baseball.
Dude, it's not even close. But let's just say, because, guys like Paul Skeens are 1 in a million. If he does struggle, he hits a little bit of a wall, I pray that the Phillies don't go, all right, cool, take a couple weeks off. Taiwan's going to go get some starts. They got to let this kid work through everything, or else he's going to become, a mental midget on the mound. If he struggles, let him work through it. He's a 23-year-old kid just coming up. He's a 5th starter right now. Let him work through anything he wants to work through. That's why I just hope the Phillies, once they've now committed to him, that they're committed to letting him get through a season, whether it's high or low. They got to figure out what they got in him.
He's got to start. So the only thing I think I'm super worried about is, Painter. Yes, we want him to go, but he's been dinged up here and there. How much can he really? How many innings can he give you? Luzardo, or not Luzardo. Sanchez last year was the first year he broke 200 innings. Year before, so last 181 and then 99. Does he start having fatigue? Does he start to break down at some point because he hasn't really gone long in those innings? And the same thing with Sanchez, man. Or not Sanchez, Luzardo. So both of them, yes, Luzardo and Sanchez. These guys aren't dudes that have thrown a super ton of innings. Last year was 183. The year before that, 66. I think he was hurt. And then the years before that, 178 and 100. So these are guys, really outside of Wheeler and Nola, that haven't consistently given you those, 180 to 200 innings a season. So that to me is my biggest fear is we're counting on three dudes, Painter a little less, but Luzardo and Sanchez, who haven't really shown they can put back, back-to-back seasons of 200 starts, throwing that many pitches. And now, both of them are kind of coming out of the World Baseball. I don't know if Luzardo did, but Sanchez pitched some in the Baseball Classic. These guys that's what they're doing. So are they going to be able to give you that? And even with Wheeler, the last few seasons, we've seen points in season. I don't think last year, but I think back-to-back years before that, he got dead arm, going late into the season. So that is my biggest worry. They have the potential to be that, but I also think you have to look at the other end. There's a lot of potential for things to fall apart with where these guys are. Now I know Luzardo and Sanchez are younger, but can they give you back-to-back seasons of throwing this many innings, that many pitches, that many high leverage, that much high leverage without really, breaking down or kind of hitting a wall? That's my biggest worry when it does come to the pitching staff.
So when people ask questions in terms of, all right, so for the Phillies to get beyond October and can get to a World Series, what needs to go right? And I look at it this way. I look at the Phillies are built to win in October. Whether you think they're running it back or not, if everybody is healthy, they should obviously get there. They're too talented, but it all starts with this starting pitching. If Zach Wheeler returns to Cy Young caliber form, whenever he rejoins in the rotation in April, the team's strength becomes even stronger. And then you got, Painter and Aaron Nola have shown really good things this spring. The Phillies obviously feel incredibly good with Sanchez and Luzardo. They signed them both to
I hope so anyway.
Long-term contracts, right? So if this team wants to get back to a World Series, as much, of course, as the hitting needs to be there, the pitching cannot go away. It cannot lack, because that's the Phillies' strong point. That's what really needs to happen. That rotation is so vital to the success of this Phillies team. And then just real quick, covering the bullpen, I'm really excited for some of the additions that the Phillies had that are kind of going unnoticed by Phillies fans.
And can you name one?
Yeah, Johan Duran is here for a full season.
Oh, okay. Well, we had him last year. So how's that like? I thought you were going to give me Keller.
Well, I think Keller's really good. Brad Keller, I like Brad Keller a lot. I think he's definitely somebody that can really help. I even like Kyle Backus from the acquisition from the Diamondbacks.
Okay, I'll give you that. Brad, listen, can you just, I get last season. Can you take out last season's stats and tell me what Brad Keller's been? That's all I want to know.
Yeah,
everybody loves him because of last year. The dude before that, 5'4", 5'8", 4'8", 4'5", 5'0", 5'3". Like everybody, I've heard a lot of people kind of not maybe a lot, but like on the talk shows, people, the hosts talking up Keller, the fans talking up Keller. Outside of last year, don't give me this 1 year BS. The dude's been a bum, and he's going to be our 8th inning guy. The dude's been straight garbage. So we're going, to me, that's the problem. I'm actually not as high on the bullpen, because I do hope Kerkering takes that next step. But I think the guy you're counting on in Brad Keller, you don't just figure it out at age 30 and just start doing 2-4 unless you're shooting some steroids. Let's be honest.
But what about? But we're also kind of forgetting as of right now, we're going to have a full season of Alvarado back.
I don't trust him at this point. Listen, we were never been high. I
agree.
Great,
I agree.
He's good. But Alvarado has been streaky at his best for his whole career. You hope Kerkering can take that next step. Tanner Banks hasn't looked, so the guys haven't looked bad, but I think getting rid of Strahm, he's been a guy was very good for us. We just traded him away. To me, I don't like that. I think they should have kept him. And I don't believe in Tanner Banks as much. I do think if Tanner Banks is what he was last year, but I do think you got a decent 7, 8, 9. I know they're going to put Keller in there, but I think Alvarado and Kerkering are going to kind of go in those roles as well. And Duran's going to be your 9. I'm okay with those guys. I'm not as high on Keller. I need to see more. I would have loved to have seen him run it back with Strahm, Kerkering, and Alvarado. I think to me that would have been a little bit better. But I'm not as high on it because I still don't trust Alvarado, and I don't think Keller is that great of an acquisition.
Where are you on Kirk right now?
I think he's got the potential to take the next step. I do think
Okay.
I think he's got closer stuff. He definitely does. It's going to be, can he read a play like last year can really affect the kid's confidence.
Yeah.
So I do think it's going to be, how does he come out early? Is it in his mind when he's making these throws now?
Yeah.
Because I know it's one throw, it's one play, but a play like that can really mess with the kid's confidence. So you hope it doesn't. I do expect him. I think he's a kid that can make an all-star this year if he pitches to his potential.
I agree. I'm not super high on the bullpen, but I am excited for a full year back of Alvarado and Tanner Banks together. I feel like we're no longer worried about who's going to pitch the 7th, 8th, and 9th because it looks like they've at least got they have options. And whereas before, Daniel Robert could have been pitching in the 7th or 8th inning last year at points. Nothing against the guy, but he's not Jose Alvarado. He's not Tanner Banks. But you're all right about Brad Keller. That's another guy who I was like, I'm excited to see what he does based off what we saw last year with that. I think his strikeout ratio was like 4-1 strikeout to walk, which is really good. Again, but what's his pattern? Is his pattern going to be what he did every year basically before last year? Or maybe something clicked last year and he's going to be really highly effective.
You hope,
that's the hope.
That's the hope and prayer is
Right.
that he doesn't look like he did 18 through 24, that 25 was his going forward. But I'm a guy, I look at the numbers, I look at the career. I need a sample size. Don't give me one season, give me 4 or 5 years to really put, judge a player. So I think that's where it kind of hurts off a little bit. And we had this, I think the last few years we've signed that one guy that had a great year the year before, and they've really come here and shit the bed a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. All right. So we are going to now get to the crux of all of this. We're going to get to the MVP, blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to get to the end, which everyone is mostly interested in. But let's start off. Jason, who will be your MVP of the Philadelphia Phillies in 2026?
See, this one, it's tough because I feel like there's a few places to go. If we're going as high as we think, to me, it's got to be Bryce. For them to win, Bryce has to get back to being the player he was.
Yep.
So, I know it's corny. I know it sounds homerish. I know it's the easy answer, but I think it has to be the answer for this team to really get back and win a World Series. And he's here to prove everyone wrong. I think even as GM, I think you're right. I think it lit a fire up under his ass. I think he wants to go and really dominate this year. So I think it has to be him.
I agree with you. And again, if we get 290, 40, and 125, you're probably got a guy that's got an on base percentage of over 415, 420. Yep. I mean, that's putting you in the best possible chance to make it to the World Series. You need a couple years ago Bryce Harper to get past the Dodgers. You do.
420 on base percentage, Bryce.
I agree.
You have a 420 Jason lot parking lot.
Well, there's a lot better chance of that than the 420 OBP. But all right. So comeback player of the year.
I think this one for me is pretty self-explanatory. It's got to be Aaron Nola. To me, I think he's got to be a guy. Now, if we're going that, to me, because he's the only dude I felt like had a bad season. Like if you're going like how much you want to go come back for Bryce for, I guess some injuries. If he's going to get an MVP like we predicted, I guess you could go him. But to me, I think Nola, Nola's huge for this pitching staff this year because he's the only guy that really consistently gives you 200 every year, doesn't get hurt. Last year was the anomaly. I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to be a mid to 3.25 ERA. This guy. He's my prediction for comeback player of the year. I think he has a very good season. The pressure's not on him. He's no longer your number one. He's no longer your number two. He's got to go out there on as their fourth starter. So that's got light a little bit of a fire under him as well to go out there and say, hey, I still have it. I still got it. I know you just, I know I just got paid 2 years ago, but now I'm already the fourth guy. I think he's got something to prove as well for this team because isn't he the longest tenured guy at this point?
Yep.
So he's got to feel some sort of. He's seen all these other guys come in. He's got to show, hey, I may not be the best here, but this is still my team. I'm the guy here.
So my only other guy would have been Bryson Stott, but I'm gonna go Aaron Nola as the comeback player of the year for sure.
I love you.
I know. Unsung hero of 2026. We might agree on this one.
I was going to go to me. I think it's going to be Crawford.
I think it's going to be Crawford. I really do. I think, look, he made some really nice plays in center field. Just last week he had, he tripled off a Tarek Skubal, a lefty on lefty.
Beautiful.
He doesn't need to be the savior for the Phillies. Not even close. He just needs to hit enough in the 9-hole and catch the baseball. If he exceeds those expectations, then we're going to be thrilled.
He's a dude that can easily steal 30. So if you get him, if he hits well, I get it's going to be the 9-hole. He's not going to get the at-bats, but he could still probably get you 40 to 45 steals from that 9-hole getting on base. He's definitely going to show off his wheels this season. So I'm okay if he has to stay at the 9-hole all year. He's not going to get it. He's not going to huge amount of runs, but he's might be the most runs for any guy in a 9-hole you might ever see. I think with that speed he's got getting on base, huge addition. I think this team needs that energy as well. I think you haven't had that young. The team is a team of veterans now. It's been that way for a while. They haven't really injected any much, the youth in there. So I think him coming up and playing, and they even said during the in spring training they put these guys next to the tenured guys. They're sitting next to Harper. They're sitting next to the Schwarbers to really learn how to be a professional. This kid's grew up in the clubhouse. He knows how to be a professional. But I think just injecting that youth with Crawford in there, I do think there'll be times where you may see him bat and lead off and trying to get some things going. So I think I'm very high on him this year. I hope I'm not wrong.
I mean, geez, if we're wrong, then things just might not go too well. So, all right, who's going to be the team Cy Young?
Can I say Aaron Nola? No, I can't. To me, it's still got to be Wheeler. Like I know if he comes back and still gets you 25 to 27 starts, I still think he's one of the best 3 pitchers in baseball. To me, you can't go against him. If it's anybody else, it's going to be Sanchez. But I'm still going to go Wheeler. I still think he has it. I don't think he loses much, from this.
I agree. All right, so we've made it, everybody. We've made it to the end. Jason Kent, what will be the Philadelphia Phillies regular season record in 2026?
Wait, what the heck? I don't know if they're the team they were last year, but so with that, I still think this is a 93 to 95 win team. I'm going to go a little bit on the lower end because I do think having, you're always going to have some injuries unless things go perfect. So I'm going to go, they're probably, a 92 win team this year, but that's still good enough for playoffs. And that's probably still good enough to win this division as well.
Wow. So I'm ahead of you. So I had the Phillies finishing 97 and 65.
You think better that you think can I back up a second? Yeah. You think this team is better than last year's team?
I do, because I think some of the underperformers on offense are going to be better.
Like who? You think Stott's going to be better?
I think Harper's going to be better. I think Bohm's going to be better. And I think Crawford adds a lot.
Okay. I still think, you had the best. The reason they did so well is you had that best rotation in baseball last year. I do think pitching wise, things have to go perfect, I think, for them to hit that 97 win mark. I think, and to me, it went so perfect the beginning of last year, and they kind of ran out. They had, the ERA was obnoxious before Luzardo fell apart and kind of Sanchez or Ranger hit his wall, but that's tough, man. If they hit 97, listen, I'd be shocked. That might be the top. They might be the best team in baseball, 97 wins.
Well, I mean, it's weird because I think last year was kind of weird because it was one of the first seasons in like 30 years that a team didn't win 100 games. The parity in baseball has gotten much better, as much as the world wants to think that the Dodgers just win every game. That just doesn't happen. But I just look at it this way. I look at if I think Trey Turner is going to have more power, he's going to hit over 20 home runs, and I think that could, be worth a game or two. If I think Bryce Harper is going to go from a 260 batting average to 290 and hit 40 balls and 120 RBIs, that's got to account for another win or two.
I think the rotation's not as good. We're getting how many starts of Walker? I don't know what Painter is. I like the stats. I think these guys can hit them. I think we all kind of go what we expect and kind of where they should be, but I don't know if the rotation's as good as it was last year. And I think the bullpen might be a little bit worse. So I don't know if that, it's going to have to be, the offense is going to have to show up. I think we're going to have to outslug a lot of people. I think that's where it is. And we're hoping for best case scenario for the staff.
Of course.
But then we're one more injury away. We're an injury. Luzardo, Wheeler gets
You're
hurt.
right.
Who's coming in? Like you hope you don't want Painter to have to move up. Are we bringing in Walker? They still even now if one other pitcher gets hurt, like the Braves got a lot of injuries right now. Injuries apart, I don't think they have the depth at the starting pitching. I think those guys could hit those numbers offensively. I just don't think they have the depth to withstand injuries, and it's very unlikely that everybody stays healthy all year.
So I 100% agree with you. I guess my counter argument to the 92 wins would be, if they won 95 without Aaron Nola pitching for 2 months and with a 6 ERA, if he's coming back as the comeback player of the year,
that's a good point.
You can't add 3 more wins, 3 or 4.
I think there's still some injuries. I think there's going to be some guys. I don't know if I really trust Luzardo and Sanchez to be. I don't know if I trust Sanchez to be the 2-5 guy he was. I don't know if he's going to be. I don't think Luzardo is going to be that low. I'd like to see Luzardo bump up, but I think asking from him to be a 3-2-5 guy is kind of tough. So I think to me, what you gain in Sanchez or what you gain in Nola, you lost in Ranger. That was here last year. So you have Walker and Painter. We don't know what they are. You lose. Sanchez. We all really hope he's can consistently stay that guy. He's gotten to the mountaintop. Now can he stay there? I don't know if he could do that. Wheeler's shown he's been able to. Luzardo's up and down. So while he may still have the stuff to be a 3-2-5 guy, he's probably closer to a 4 ERA guy. He may not have that dominant stretch that he had last year. So that's why I'm a little bit, and I don't trust the bullpen as much. I think it'll have to close out some of those games. I'm a little worried towards the end. I do like Duran. I like Kirkring. I don't trust Alvarado. We know he has amazing stuff. I don't trust Keller. I like Tanner Banks, but he hasn't. How many years can he do it again this season?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's as many questions. It's a very talented baseball team. I still think they are built for October. 92 wins does not mean I don't think they can't win a World Series, because they are built for that. I just think they kind of have to. I think they're going to lose some stuff and trying to figure it out. I think, especially if you're going to let Painter work through it. If you're going to let Crawford be here every day, I think those are things, you got to kind of be like the Dodgers. I know, you guys mentioned it last year. I know everybody's saying the Dodgers were losing. They won 93 games last year and still won the World Series. So this is a team I really don't care about the regular season. It's not a waking me up when October shows up, but I don't care about the regular season because I want to see. I'm more concerned. Can Bohm take that next step? Can Crawford take that? Can Painter? Can those guys be guys? I think that's what I'm more worried about. And I think to allow that to happen, you got to sacrifice a couple wins.
So just everybody can know how locked in Jason is on 92 wins. I tried to sell him on the massive positivity of Aaron Nola, and it did not work.
Listen, Chris would never do that.
He is not shaken nor stirred. He is locked in on 92 wins. So I'm really happy that I'm not happy I couldn't sell him, but I'm happy that he's staying with his conviction of 92 wins. So but with that being said, because you said some really poignant things there at the end where, that regular season number really doesn't matter when you get to the postseason. But fact of the matter is, we both think obviously they're going to get to the postseason. Jason, how do you see the season ending for the Philadelphia Phillies?
I don't think I've said this before. I'm going to go. I honestly do believe I hate to say it because I'm a homer now.
Uh,
Anything less than and anything else less than making it to the championship game is a disappointment to me.
agree. You got to get to the NLCS at least.
I do think, it in the perfect world, I think overall outside of the Dodgers, we may be the best team in baseball. And I do think outside of last year, we've done really well. I know it was a long time ago. We do well against the Dodgers. I think the Phillies are going to win it. I do believe. I think they got a shot. I believe in Bryce. I think he's got a fire. I think Wheeler's got something to prove. He's only got a year left after this, and shit, next year might be a lockout. So this may be his last season if there's a lockout. You never know.
You're right.
I think, Wheeler's got something, or not Wheeler, Bohm's got something to prove. Harper's got something to prove. Crawford wants to come up. Painter needs to show he could be a guy. Nola wants to come back. So I think the perfect storm, I don't know if there's a lot of outside pressure. I know everybody says they got a great team, but I think some of the moves they made, I think Crawford's going to be a big addition. Him and Painter being in that clubhouse are going to bring a little bit of spark. And I think that is the motivation these guys need, not just complacent showing up. I think they have the motivation to do it this year. I think there's going to be a little bit bigger pep in their step. And I do think Harper's home run, I think them being there, I know it's not as big as the world, guys say it's not the World Series, but being there, those guys being there, being close to even the World Baseball Classic Championship, they want to play for something. And Bryce wants to get some. Bryce can't end his career here not having one.
Oh my God.
So I think there's a good shot. I think they make the World Series. I do think they have a great shot to win it.
So I can't believe we actually agree on this, but the Philadelphia Phillies. I think my absolute pipe dream is going to come true. I think the Phillies beat the Seattle Mariners in 6 games to win the World Series.
Guys, if Seattle plays the Phillies, Chris will spend every moment in his bedroom.
It would be
doing some naughty things to himself.
He
might not even watch the game. And he'll even be talking about Julio Rodriguez, not the Phillies.
I just
want to throw that out there.
Gonna get some.
On the other hand, I don't know if you can see Bohm. I can't turn around that much, but I got Bohm jersey on. Okay.
Yep.
And the Fanatic hat and Fanatic green. That's where I am. This guy over here.
Yeah, and you guys have no idea, with that piano behind him, he is going to be writing a brand new Alec Bohm fight song that will one day debut on this show.
I'll get a Netflix. We'll get it on Netflix like they did for that damn clap for Trey Turner. Okay, we'll get that shit on Netflix special.
Oh no! Oh man!
You know what? I'm going to clap for all of them this year because it worked for Trey Turner that year. So I'm clapping for everybody this year. No boos from me.
Yeah. Okay. That's funny. I was gonna say something real political, but I'm not going to. All right. So, Jason, 92 wins. Myself, 97 wins. However, the most important thing is Jay and I do believe this is the year the Phillies finally get over that hump, and that's win a World Series with this core.
Dombrowski will make a big move. I think that's what pushes this team over the edge. I think Dombrowski at the trade deadline knows it has to happen now.
So I forgot to put that. I wanted to say, because I even included it last year, I remember asking, does Dombrowski make a huge move at the deadline? And this year I was going to say, I don't think he's going to have a choice.
No.
It's going to be his job on the line, to be honest.
I agree. And I think I know because I felt like I just need to add that in there. I do think, I think that's why to me, I know the wins aren't there, but I think they go in and make a big move. Now they could definitely be closer to your wins than mine. But I do think, I think Dombrowski has to make a big time move. He's got to do it. He's, how many years does he actually have left as a GM in baseball? I know they have, Mattingly right behind him. So they're poised to win. They're poised. They're ready. I think Dombrowski knows it. He sees it. I don't think it's going to be. I think he's going to be that big move this year that we've all expected since the moment he signed as the GM here.
Totally agree. I think this is that. I know a lot of people kind of disagree when I say these things, but I've said this now for a few months where I think 2026 is that last pure prime window for this team. And that's just how I feel, especially like we don't know how much baseball we're getting next season. So get it done now before, like Jay said, we might not get a whole bunch next year. So that's another year we're taking off of Harper and Schwarber and Turner. So just do whatever it takes to get it done this season. I do think Dombrowski will be highly motivated to do what it takes to make a big deadline move, whether it's at the deadline, before it. I do think it's going to be significant. But yep, that's our preview and predictions for the 2026 season. We will be back here later in the week, obviously, because we will most likely we will be back here Sunday to wrap up the very first season series of the season against the Texas Rangers. Jay, have a phenomenal time at the opener. I'm sure it's going to be a ball. Please be safe.
Dude, I'm always safe. Listen, yeah, and what I love is like every year we do this show, and we don't talk about any of the numbers outside. Every year they're pretty much the same. Like they're the same numbers. We have the same. Like, come on, we just know the game. And why can't they need to just call us up and let us manage the team? You get the home games. I'm fine going to away games. I'll fly.
Yeah, that's fine. Fine.
We can whip this team into shape real quick. We know exactly what they need.
I agree, man. If there's one thing, we know ball, and we're not stupid. We watch 9 innings every single day. So
listen, I got the MLB Network. I got from the season tickets. It's on my phone. I'm watching games.
Hey guys, guess what? So do I, because of Jason.
Yeah, listen, and that's he gets to watch Seattle while I get to watch
Seattle.
While I got to watch Clayton Kershaw, which I will know. I have to find now. It's going to be Pittsburgh because I have to find a new favorite pitcher.
I was going to say, who's your guy now? Is it Skeens?
It's Skeens. Yeah, I love great. Listen, everybody, I love greatness. I'm a big fan of greatness.
Yeah.
As a fan with pitchers guys that just can dominate. I like, Wheeler's a guy, but Skeens is. It's crazy. He's 23. We're 40 and he's 23. At least with Kershaw, I watched him. Now I get to watch a child grow up.
I know.
I'm gonna be like 60 before he retires.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna be 40 a lot longer before I will be, but
like 12 hours.
Like 12 hours. That's funny. All right, everybody. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Thank you to everybody for your support. If you guys see this show, like this video, obviously subscribe to the channel, ring that bell on the bottom there for notifications when we will go live again, but we will of course let you know. So enjoy opening day, everybody. This is the last Tuesday without baseball, probably until October. So enjoy it. This is just the best time of the year. 162 games plus coming right up, and we'll be here with you every step of the way. So for Jason Kent, I'm Christy Francesco. We'll catch you all down the road. Have a great rest of your week and weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Go Phils.